Okay, so let's get started for our wonderful back bending, heart opening class today. It's going to make everybody feel better. Even if you feel fantastic already, you're just going to feel that much better. So let's take a moment to get started in our centering posture. The script or the sequence would have us start in Balasana, child's pose, but as we all know, any centering posture that feels right for you. Lately, I've been really into Virasana hero pose, but I also like a good Balasana child's pose. So whatever feels right for you, take those moments and get all settled in. I like to be even extra cautious as I first settle into that very first posture of my practice, especially if it's been a few days since a practice. Just checking in, see how things are going, nice and gentle. Checking in with the joints, the knees, the ankles, the hips. How are things feeling? In the neck, maybe the shoulders. And taking a moment to exhale, because everything is okay right now on the safety of your mat. And this time is just for you. And then start to take a few slow, deep breaths through the nose. An extra little sip of air at the top of each inhale. And squeezing out that last puff of air at the end of every exhale. And then slowly blink the eyes open. It's amazing. I usually feel like a whole new person after centering. Much better. Let's come on up to hands and knees. And just heading up and back to a downward facing dog before we really get moving too much. I like starting out with a nice downward dog. So tucking the toes under, hips press up and back. And just spending a few moments upside down. Allowing the blood flow to move towards the head, making us feel more alert. Couple deep breaths, maybe walking it out a little bit. I love that feeling of alternating. One heel lowers down towards the mat as the opposite leg bends, and nice and slow switch sides. I also love that feeling of bringing the feet in towards each other and then shifting the hips to one side. It stretches the outside of the leg, which is nice. I do that a little bit, and then I switch sides. And then we'll scoop the belly in, gently lower through hands and knees, and head into a little Vidalasana, so cat-cow tilts. From hands and knees, shoulders away from the ears, the neck is long. We start by inhaling as we lower the belly, arch the back, and gently lift the chin. And on the exhale, curving and rounding the spine. And tuck the chin, nice and slow and smooth. And inhale, lengthening through neutral, arch the back, lift the chin. And exhale, curving and rounding, and tuck the chin. One more, through neutral, inhale, up. And exhale. Curving and rounding last time. And then inhale to neutral. And we'll exhale, downward facing dog. So tucking the toes under once again. Hips press up and back. And then send the feet forward. all the way to the top of your mat, landing with the feet parallel, and let the head hang. So decompressing the spine, and especially the neck. So let the neck relax completely. Couple deep breaths here. And then slowly ragdoll, one vertebra at a time, all the way to standing. So standing up nice and tall, we'll do a few modified sun salutations. I love these because it really sets up our practice. It warms us up a little bit too, but I like the emotional part of it. And here's why. So standing up nice and tall in mountain pose. This is cheesy, but I love it so much. I love it a lot. So we stand up nice and tall. And on an inhale, raise the arms up to the sides and then flip the palms facing up, even back a little bit. And then all the way up like you're scooping up sunshine. This is where the cheese comes in, and I love it. And then on an exhale, bring it into heart center. All that sunshine and goodness that the universe has to offer. Back to mountain pose, fingertips reaching towards the ground. Again, inhale, arms reach up, palms facing up, scooping up sunshine, good energy, all things that the universe has to offer. On the exhale, bringing it in towards you, into your heart, into your center, whatever that feels like or looks like for you. Returning to Tadasana mountain pose once more. Inhale, shoulders down, palms up. Scooping up whatever you need, whatever you feel like you're lacking, bring it in towards you. And back to mountain. From here, let's do one more because I want to inhale all the way up. Scooping up more of whatever you need. This time we'll head forward fold. So bringing it in towards you as you glide forward for a nice forward fold. We're doing a bit of back bending today, so it's nice to warm up the spine with a little bit of flexion, forward fold. On an inhale, looking up to the horizon for flat back, but because we're working on a little bit of back bending today, let's pause here in a flat back. So no hands maybe, strengthen the spine, feel how much you can cobra. So nothing strenuous, but lifting up the shoulders, like the top half of the torso, and then allowing the belly almost to lower. So feeling that cobra action. Hopefully you feel the spine warming up here. I love, love, love this. And the glutes as well. Hamstrings are working and stretching simultaneously. One big inhale here. And exhale, release. That should feel lovely. Take a moment, couple deep breaths here. Once more, flat back. So looking up to the horizon, shoulders down away from the ears, and then feel a little bit of cobra. So warming up the whole back side of the body, lengthening the spine, feeling the glutes and the hamstrings and the back, and even the back of the neck a little bit, making that stronger too. And release. From here, we'll step back to plank. Belly scoops in. We'll lower through hands and knees, and then we'll lower all the way to our belly. And we'll prepare for Naraviralāsana, Sphinx pose, so it's a stretch. From here, we prop ourselves up onto the forearms. So this should feel nice, 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 nice. The shoulders are away from the ears. And the heart melts down and forward. So we're trying to get the mid back to stretch here. It's a bit of an arm strengthener, and if you can, isolating the two. So the arms are strong, but the back is soft. We're trying to allow the back to stretch a little bit. And just hanging out here for a little bit. and I'm a big multitasker, so I like to do something while I'm in a stretch. And specifically, I like to think about what I was doing when I was scooping up sunshine and all sorts of things. So remembering what it is that you need from the universe, from the world, what is it you need, and melting into that, so accepting. And it's kind of cool how you can almost feel the muscles soften, the ones that are supposed to stretch. As you accept, opening up your heart, opening up to the possibilities, and all of that cheesy goodness. And then to come out, slowly, slowly, slowly stacking the forearms. And then let's bring the forehead to the stacked forearms. Couple moments. And then the next pose is Shalabhasana, a locust pose. So from here, bring the arms along your sides, palms facing up, and then we'll bring the legs all the way together, ankles together, pointing the toes. And I like to start with like forehead on the floor. So completely neutral as possible, scoop the belly in, and almost like you're tucking the tail under. Then peel the chest off the floor, and then allow the legs to float up off the floor, arms too. So in our locust pose, this is probably one of the greatest yoga poses that there is in existence for our posture, for everything. Our bodies tend to get really lopsided muscularly, so front bodies get strong, back bodies not as much. So we want to not curve and round, but rather squeeze the shoulder blades together, reach the fingertips towards the back wall, whatever that is for you, reach towards the back of the mat and beyond. The knees aren't touching the floor, neither are the toes. And release. So that should feel nice. And forehead to the forearms. And then from here, one more little back bender in this position. I like this, it's kind of lazy a little bit. It's like we do one pose on our belly lying down, and we rest, and then another one. It's great. So the next one is Bhujangasana, cobra pose. But like in a, well, passive / active. So palms to the floor. Our back should be a little warm now. So as long as we have a healthy spine, totally safe to press into the floor as far as your back will allow, and gently lift the chin. If this is too much, step the hands forward a little bit, and you'll notice that you lower, and it's less of a stretch. If you're more flexible, you bring the hands back. So it's a choose your own adventure, and just hold. So the active part, of course, again, is the arms. Arms are strong, but trying to melt. So lifting the heart open to the sky, almost like, okay, here's a visual for you. You know when we were bringing in all of that goodness from the universe in our sun salutation, we can do that again, but thinking of all of that entering through the heart. So the heart has to lift. And allowing whatever you need to flow to you. And then slowly, slowly release. And once you make your way all the way down, either stay for a moment if you need to, or press up and back to child's pose. So again, with the cheese, I love it, like we just did in that last posture. And you know, I don't know what the science is behind that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But you know what does work is it sure makes for a good posture and good form in our Bhujangasana. And again, letting yourself relax and exhale. And then from here, let's actually come to seated. So Bringing the knees forward and sitting all the way back and heading into one of my favorite stretches of all time. And so in Sukhasana Easy Pose or in cross-legged seated, interlace the fingers behind the back and then start to straighten through the arms and allow that to feel like a little bit of a stretch through the shoulders, maybe a couple deep breaths. Depending on the tightness of your shoulders, maybe the arms straighten, maybe they don't. It's okay. And then slowly, slowly release. And from here, heading into one more downward facing dog. So we'll move forward to hands and knees. And then gentle scooping in and up of the belly. Tuck the toes under, hips press up and back to a big V. Feeling that stretch. And then in our downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, we'll transfer the stretch a bit to the shoulders. So if you have quite a bit of flexibility, all you do is reach the heart towards the feet. But if that just increases the stretch in the backs of the legs too much, then you just take a little bend to the knees, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot of it, and then reach the heart towards the feet until you feel that stretch in the shoulders. Couple deep breaths here, not too much of a stretch, just gentle opening. And then gently lower through hands and knees. And we'll prepare for our peak pose today, which is Ustrasana Camel Pose. So if you know this pose and you're like, I'm not doing it, remember there's always phase one. So you don't have to go from 0 to hero, right, all in one day. What we do is phase one is we tuck the toes under. It allows the space between the hands and the heels to be a little bit less, much easier. We start with the hands on the hips. Actually, we could all do the modified version first. If you know it and love it already, go ahead into full Ustrasana. The rest of us will lift up. And then like there's a high jump bar right kind of at the ribs and the mid back, lifting up and over, and keep the hands on the hips for the modified version and hold. For 2, 3, 4, and 5. Belly scoops in, slow, 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 coming all the way out and all the way into child's pose, taking a few moments. We'll do that one again, either the full variation or we'll repeat the modified variation. In child's pose for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up for round 2. Or maybe you did the full version the first time and now you're like, now I just want to do the modified version. So again, choose your own adventure. Here we go. Lifting up nice and tall. If you're like, I want to do the feet with the shoelaces part on the floor, you could do that as well. Whatever you like, up to you. I'm going to tuck my toes under. Here we go. Lifting up nice and tall on an inhale. On an exhale, like you're going up and over a high jump bar, reaching for those heels, and allow the head to lean back. And to come out, slow, 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 belly scoops in, all the way into child's pose Balasana. Take your time for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, We'll come all the way up to seated cross-legged, and then make our way to Dandasana staff pose. And from here, we'll prepare for a nice counter stretch to that back bend, a nice little spinal twist called Bharata Vajrasana. Challenging to say, much easier to do, which is a relief. So we start by, the easy way to say this is you just bring your legs to the left. What we're actually doing is the left leg is as in hero pose, Virasana, and the right leg is as in Padmasana, but underneath, okay? So bring your legs to the side, that's all we're doing. From here, lifting up nice and tall. This one is a bit of a shoulder opener too. So what we're doing is with the right hand, what we're trying to do is find the left thigh. So if you've got really long arms, that might be super easy. I like to use my left hand as a little bit of leverage on my left knee to twist to the right, and then my right hand is kind of flailing a little bit to try to find my left inner thigh here. Maybe you find it, maybe you don't, and that's okay. Shoulders are down. Where the left hand actually goes is onto the right knee. And then normally, usually, we look over the right shoulder, but this one's backwards. So we look over the left shoulder. It's like our body is twisting to the right and our head's like, nah, I want to go this way. And it feels a little bit sassy. I always feel like a kind of a tango dancer, but like not a cool tango dancer with the head back. The chin is level for us. We're like, well, we try, but super neutral alignment. I'm feeling this stretch in my right shoulder and like a nice spinal twist throughout. That's already 4 and 5. We'll unravel and unwind, returning all the way to Dandasana staff pose. I like to tap out the knees a little bit. And then other sides, so legs go to the right, or more accurately, the right leg is as in hero, and the left leg is as in Padmasana lotus, but underneath for this version. Then, same thing again. I like to just sort of cheat a little bit to get in. It's not cheating, it's just a way to get into the posture. So my right hand goes on my right knee to start, as my left hand tries to find the thigh. And then, side note, this left shoulder is drawing back because it is a bit of a shoulder stretch. So we want the upper arm bone to be in a healthy alignment in the shoulder socket. So if we were slouching this shoulder, you might feel a bit of pinching. If you feel any pinching in your shoulder, that's the trick. Open up the shoulder and it'll just fix itself. Then right hand goes to the left knee, lifting up nice and tall, twisting to the left, and then we look to the right, but don't let the chin lift up. The chin stays level to the earth. Breathing deep. That's already 4 and 5. Lengthening as we unravel and unwind, returning all the way to Dandasana staff pose, couple little knee taps. From here, we get to lie down, so that's nice. So laying all the way back, we'll prepare for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, which is bridge pose. So it's a lovely one. We lay all the way back and extend the legs. Actually not for long. We bend them and place the feet on the floor, just slightly wider than hips distance apart. Arms are along the sides, palms facing down. Ensure that the feet are parallel. There's a tendency to tip them out to the sides, and you don't have to look at them. Try to visualize where your body is in space. Feet are parallel, knees pointing straight up to the sky. From here, looking straight up to the sky, we press equally into each foot and lift the hips as high as they'll go. We're trying to create as much space between the floor and ourselves as possible here. Either hold here, or if you want to go a little bit deeper, interlace the fingers beneath you and then gently, 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 carefully. We tuck one shoulder underneath and the other, really cautious here. And then you might find a little bit more space. Maybe another couple centimeters or inches, whatever language you speak there, more space. I like to hold this one just a little bit longer. Again, trying to create that muscular balance. We often work on the front body strength in all of our planks. We do a lot of planks in yoga. So it's nice to balance that injury reduction by having a balanced muscles, balanced strength. And then to come out just as cautious, unscooching the shoulders, releasing the arms, and then gently lowering the hips all the way down. And I like to hug my knees in right after that for Apanasana, maybe a little rock side to side. And then heading into Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow pose. Or if you're like, not doing it, then just repeat this last one, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana bridge pose. So preparing with whichever variation you'd like to do today, I'll walk us through Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. So same position with the feet as bridge, but I like to do a slightly wider stance unless you're very experienced with this one, okay? And then same thing with the hands. Make sure that they're not right underneath the neck. The hands are a little bit wider, like beneath the shoulders, okay? From here, let's take a deep inhale and an exhale. On the inhale, push up to the top of the head. Pause for a moment. Find your stability. And then pressing all the way up. And we're in. Holding for about 5. And just feeling that stretch along the front body and the back body. Maybe the shoulders, a little bit of the wrists, kind of everything. Almost done. And then slowly, you can either release all the way down, or if you feel confident doing so, to the top of the head for a moment. And then all the way down, and then hug the knees into your chest for Apanasana. Little rock side to side. From here, a lovely counter stretch, Supta Parivartanasana, or a one-legged twist pose. For this one, you can choose your own adventure as well. So one-legged twist is what our little sequence says, but maybe you're like, no, I just want to do a mild twist. So you do 2 legs, or my favorite, twisted roots. So, there we go. From here, either variation, arms are in a T position, arms out to the sides, palms facing down, and then lift and scooch the hips over to the right. For the one-legged, the left leg extends down and the right leg moves over to the side. And we want to be sure that there's at least a 90-degree angle, not less. We want to bring the knee up, maybe even just slightly more than 90. And then if you'd like to do the twisted roots variation, which I do, you can tuck that left knee underneath. And then we look over to the right. See if you can soften a little bit more in this position. Be sure both shoulders are firmly on the floor. And scoop the belly in. Press the low back into the floor. Unraveling and unwinding. Squaring everything up. And between sides, we'll hug the knees in. Little rock from side to side. And we'll prepare for the other side. So arms in a T position, palms facing down. We lift and scooch the hips to the left as the knee goes to the right, or knees, whichever variation you prefer. Ensuring that that upper leg bone is 90 degrees or slightly lifted towards the elbow. And looking over to the left, both shoulders firmly on the floor, and softening in. And then scoop the belly in, press the low back into the floor. And as you unravel and unwind and square everything up, then we'll hug the knees into your chest and just a little rock from side to side, Apanasana. And then preparing for Ananda Balasana, Happy Baby. So clasping onto the outer edges of the feet, and guiding the soles of the feet towards the sky, and allow the knees to move down towards the floor. So we're not trying to pull the feet down, to push the knees down to the floor, but just let gravity open up through the hips. We're only here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, and one last time, hug the knees in and gently rock from side to side. And then we're all prepared for Shavasana, final resting pose. So from here, if you'd like a little extra support for the back today, feel free to keep the knees bent with the feet on the floor and allow the knees to tip in towards each other. Otherwise, extend the legs and the arms, palms facing up, and close the eyes. Softening everything, but especially through the neck and the shoulders, and all the way down the arms. Letting the fingers softly curl. Softening through the face. Softening around the eyes. And even the muscle between the eyes. Just letting it all go. And starting to come back, wiggle the fingers and the toes, and gently roll your head from side to side. And reaching your arms above head on the floor for a big stretch, feeling totally refreshed. And then bending your knees in one at a time. Gently roll over to the right side. Just taking a moment as you come back. And then slowly press yourself all the way up to a comfortable cross-legged position, taking all the time you need. And when you arrive, palms facing up on the knees, inhale, sitting up tall, and exhale, softly close the eyes. And taking those final moments to thank yourself for showing up to your practice today and taking care of you. And slowly open the eyes. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a really good rest of your day. And I'll see you next time.